Hello. Happy Wednesday. Happy Wellness Wednesday. Thanks so much for joining me. It's just been so much fun doing these Wellness Wednesdays, and I hope you are enjoying them as well. Today I wanted to talk about the journey to self through energy medicine yoga. And energy medicine yoga is a yoga that I discovered a couple of years ago. Yoga for me has been, a lifesaver so many times. It's been that place that I connect with my body, my mind, and my spirit. I consider my yoga mat to be sacred space. And yoga has taken me through some of the most difficult parts of my life. It has truly connected me to who I am. And, this time in our lives, this middle stuff can get pretty messy, right? And it's about transition. It's about awakening to ourselves. It's really a time of self-discovery, a decluttering, per se, and a letting go of what no longer serves us and what we no longer want to take in to this next chapter of our lives. So a couple of years ago, I discovered energy medicine yoga, probably 2 now. We've been 2 in July. And when I started energy medicine yoga, I was quite intrigued by that. Number one, I didn't really understand, I guess, what it was. I understand energy, but I didn't really understand how that played out, particularly in yoga. Although I had a lot of questions about that. I've always felt like there was a piece missing. I've always felt that. And when I did energy medicine yoga, it felt to me like I was coming home. It was just the bringing together of all of the pieces of yoga and a way to connect to myself at a whole different level. And a way to work with my body to help my body let go, heal. For those of you who, some of you may know, some of you may not know, I have, I've been managing anxiety for decades. And, there's been a lot of times in my life where I have been incredibly anxious, panic attacks. Those aren't fun. They aren't fun for anybody. When I went into menopause, I was transitioning so much going on that I really needed to find a way to help myself calm down. And yoga was that for me. I've taught a lot of yoga over the years. And I had just come out of a 12-year practice of teaching Ashtanga or power yoga. And in menopause, that transitioned into a gentler yoga. Had to, I just didn't have the energy. And from there, I went to yin yoga, which is also another passion of mine. And in yin yoga, I discovered that tissues hold, the body holds emotion, holds memory. And through a yin practice, I could start to release and let that go. It was really quite amazing. Then after that, I'm introduced to energy medicine yoga. And that just brought everything home. A new vehicle in which to discover myself. What my body was holding, the language that my body speaks, the language that your body speaks. I have always been fairly attuned with myself physically. And I've always been able to connect to my body. I don't always listen, right? Two different things, connect and listen. I'm aware, but sometimes I don't listen well to my body. So sometimes I get some big cement blocks that kind of take me out for a little while because I wasn't listening. I'm sure we all have experienced that. And so we are all energy. We've heard that. Lots of research on that right now. But energy needs to move. It needs space to move. Energy forms habits. It can be repatterned to healthier habits. Energy has priorities that are consistent. Okay, such as homeostasis. Energy is affected by thoughts, environment, and people that come into it. At this stage in our lives, sometimes we may feel a little unstable, a little bit on shaky ground. Not necessarily connected to ourselves. We don't really know what's happening. The body is shifting and changing. Maybe we're not sleeping as much. Maybe we're on a roller coaster of emotions. I hear that quite frequently. And that's just part of the shift and the change. But when we're working in energy medicine yoga, we're doing massaging, tapping, holds, specific holds that help us navigate this, help us learn the language of the body. Because it's always speaking to us. But often we're so busy doing that we miss the clues or the cues that the body gives us. Through energy medicine yoga, we can learn to really connect with ourselves where we're at. Learn the language of the body, vibration, pulsation, tingling, pins and needles, pain, intuition, heat, flush. And I mean, in menopause, we're definitely understanding that heat, right? And that flush. We get the heat and then that flush of cool and sweat, and right? This is a language of the body. When we take the opportunity to connect more with that, we have a deeper understanding of where we're at and what's happening. Through that lens, we can find love and compassion for ourselves. We can listen to the cues or the language of the body to help us make better decisions for ourselves as to where we're at, what's happening. You know, have you ever had one of those days where you get up, you haven't slept well? For me, that was menopause, like start to finish. You haven't slept well. You feel like you're in a fog. You get up, you have some coffee, you're trying to get it together, you're really crabby. And, you know, you tend to explode. Maybe that anger is a little bit higher than it is normally. And we're snapping at people and just really almost like our energy is in this big container of, chaos, spinning. can't seem to feel grounded, landed on the earth. And so we go through the day and we're just really feeling exhausted. Our patience is nil, especially with those that we love. We don't want to be this way, but we are this way for that day. And at the end of the day, we feel like, you know, what is going on with me? I'm not normally like this. I don't snap at people like this. This is not me. I don't even recognize this person anymore. What the heck is going on? Totally normal. Normal questions to ask ourselves. So we end up beating ourselves up because we just don't feel like we know ourselves anymore. We can shift and change that energy. We have the power to do that. It takes consistency. I've been practicing energy medicine yoga now for 2 years. That is my consistent practice. That is my daily practice. And I have discovered a calm and a peace that I really never thought was possible. A space where I can be with what is and treat myself with love and compassion like never before. It's part of learning to love the skin I'm in. Like I said, for me, it's like a coming home, it's completeness. The thing about energy medicine yoga, you know, using massage, tapping, and holds, is we can put that in to any kind of yoga. That's what I love about it. So if I'm feeling like I want to do some sun salutations that day, that's feeling good for me, I just add the energy medicine yoga into that. There's certain flows in the energy medicine yoga for sure. And then we can intersperse them elsewhere. It's a taking care of your whole being. And we're taking that densest energy in the physical form and opening space for our subtle energies to move. Chakras, meridians. We have 7 layers of energy. We know this now. There's enough research and enough science behind this that we know we are energy. And we know from earlier that energy needs to move and it needs space to move in. So if we're always contracted, it's really hard for energy to move. But if we open, right, add movement, energy moves. You can feel it. So I want to do a little calming hold with you today. Talked enough about energy medicine yoga. I got to teach energy medicine yoga today. That was plus my own practice. So beautiful. So I just want you to come into a seated position, whatever feels good for you. And I want you to take one hand and bring it to your forehead, palm down. Take 2 fingers to this notch. So collarbones, and then there's a little notch at the bottom of the throat. I want you to take 2 fingers there. I want you to lightly close your eyes and breathe. It doesn't matter which hand is where. Inhale through the nose, exhale through the mouth. Beautiful, calming hold. It's available to you anywhere, anytime. Let yourself soften and relax here. Couple more breaths. If you have glasses on, you'll just take them off and move them up. Take your fingers right underneath your eyes onto that bone right here, and just you can massage and lightly tap. Whatever feels good for you here. This is a grounding tap. Last two. And then come back to that hold. Inhale through the nose, exhale through the mouth. Last 4 breaths here. And then just slowly bring the hands onto the heart space. Back into your breath. And just notice now how you feel. Just notice if you're a little calmer, a little more relaxed. Then slowly open your eyes. In a very short period of time, you shifted and changed your energy. I have a lot of students who will use this hold in the middle of the night when they wake up and they're struggling to get back to sleep. So try that out. See if it helps you. If you're curious about energy medicine yoga and you'd like to try it, I teach it in the live studio every Wednesday morning at 9 to 9:45 Eastern Daylight Time. And I would love to have you join us. Just feel the difference that energy medicine yoga can really make. Connecting to yourself on this journey to self through this time. I want to thank you so much for joining me for Wellness Wednesday. As always, it has been an absolute pleasure to be with you. And I will see you next week for Wellness Wednesday. And I will be dropping on Friday a resource for energy medicine yoga. So be sure to watch for that. All right. Lots of love. We'll see you soon.